mean, we can just go out there anytime, but
True.
we wanted to do the podcast out there.
We don't.
Well,
It's good music.
welcome to the President's Project podcast in typical Fairview Social Podcast fashion. We were ill prepared, and I just got the notes created, and there was 33 pages of them. So,
And he sent them to us like a couple hours before the podcast.
Yeah, that's okay.
In the last podcast, Mike and I discussed how Larry has completely dropped the ball.
Apparently, Larry was listening and got offended.
Yeah.
Well, I changed his settings.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And
How'd you change them?
He provided better results.
Larry, don't be a jerk.
Pretty much is how that ended up playing out. I had to really get onto him, but anyway, so we have notes. But first of all, Jeems is back with us because she's like the history major here. And also, you got your degree in the mail today.
Congratulations.
In an envelope that said "Do not bend,"
And it was all bent up.
Very
It was
bent.
bent in four spaces, four parts.
So, congratulations to you on that.
Well
Hey,
done.
thanks. I have a degree.
Well done.
Well done.
What are you going to do with that now? We're going for more degrees?
More degrees.
That's what I'm talking
Many
about.
more degrees.
That's what I'm talking about.
So for Andrew Jackson, we decided after seeing all these notes, well, first of all, let's rewind for a second. So we were going to have this big blowout, this big bash.
Yeah.
The big,
It was going to be like 20 people. We were going to go to the Hermitage.
and I still want to do all of those things.
We should.
And we can do all of those things, but I didn't want to hold up the podcast for the presidents. So we're going to do this episode, and then we're going to try to plan for the other thing. I think that's probably going to be our.
I wonder if it's so crazy. They weren't getting back to y'all because of what's happening next weekend with 250.
Oh, are they
They're
doing
probably
something up there?
maybe,
Probably.
maybe.
Probably. I don't know.
They're probably worried that our podcast would be a bigger celebration, and they didn't want
Probably draw a bigger crowd,
it possibly.
even though he was.
Maybe they
AJ.
couldn't handle your kind of numbers.
Probably. But so what we're going to do is we are going to do that hopefully by the fall. And also we're probably going to split this one up into 2 episodes.
Yeah, we should give this one our full attention
because the John Quincy Adams, like the episode was okay, but there just wasn't enough information.
Right.
You know, you have some of these presidents that didn't have a ton of stuff going on. Andrew Jackson was not one of them.
Nope.
So, all right, Jeems, you want to tell us, give us a summary of who Andrew Jackson was.
Wait, do we have a nickname?
Oh, yeah.
What are you thinking?
I mean, the simple one's AJ.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
But we got to be a little bit more creative than that.
What about $20 bill?
We can call him that, or we can call him and Jack.
And Jack.
And Jack.
And Jack.
Let's call him $20 bill. G Dubs and $20 bill.
$20 bill, y'all.
It's got to be $20 bill. You try.
All right.
You try.
$20 bill.
$20 bill.
$20 bill.
All right. So that's who we got going here.
All right. Quick summary. $20 bill, AKA AJ, AKA and Jack, AKA Andrew Jackson. 7th president, born in 1767. He was different from the other presidents because he had a completely different background. He came from poverty, not from the wealthy elite. He was orphaned early. He was a bit of a wild man, really stinking tough.
Mm-hmm.
Really stinking tough. So he's one of those presidents that's just gone down in history as like one of the most controversial. And we're going to see what happened here.
I like it.
With old $20 bill.
Oh, no, honey, not $20 bill. It's $20 bill.
$20.
$20 bill.
$20.
$20 bill. I don't know.
All right. Well, Mike, you have anything to add to that intro to
No.
$20 bill?
No, that was well done.
Thanks.
And I'm not surprised at how well it turned out with Jeems,
Well,
Jeems
the
with a
smart
degree.
one, the smart one,
Jeems
AKA
with the
the smart
degree.
one.
All right, so let's get started here. We're going to start, as usual, with the things that AJ was known for, $20 bill.
Yeah.
And the first thing is the Battle of New Orleans in 1815.
Yeah.
What you got to say about that?
Let me refer to my notes here.
Okay.
Let me get to my note here. Because it's not. I thought we'd go in order here.
We are in order.
You mean like
Oh.
with his life timeline? Yeah.
I mean, he started off kind of
Well, let's do
in a
let's
bad
do that.
spot.
Let's go for it. Lead the way.
No, I mean,
I was
Maybe
just going off the notes that Larry did.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
let's get some background.
I think we have to, don't we?
yeah.
All right, do it.
From
what can you-
poverty.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about his young childhood,
Sure.
adulthood?
Born March 15th, 1767. Thank you. Scott Irish.
His
Not
family
bad.
was immigrants,
Part
but he was the
family's
only one
immigrant.
in his family actually born here.
That's right. His father died before he was born.
Hmm.
Mother helped. Her mother raised him. Mother had to do the raising. And he and his brother were captured by British soldiers
During the Revolutionary War.
I didn't know that.
As
Yeah.
young teenagers.
As young teenagers.
Young teenagers. They enlisted when he was 13 to be messengers for, the American side of the revolution.
That's right.
So they were riding horses back and forth, delivering messages between troops and things. They get captured by British soldiers and they become prisoners of war
Yeah.
when he's like 13, 14 years old.
Can you imagine that?
No,
Can you imagine?
not
that?
at all.
No.
That's so young.
We experienced our kids at 13 playing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and these guys are running around North Carolina, South Carolina, East
Yeah.
Coast,
Yeah.
captured.
And
That's
old
pretty stressful.
Jackson, he was there for it. I mean, he was just fearless.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood up to the British soldiers when they tried to make him shine his shoes. And he's like, I'm not your slave. I'm a prisoner. So I won't do it,
No.
So there's a story about that where he gets slashed with
Yeah.
his sword. He's standing up to this British soldier with a sword, and I'm sure guns too. And this little 13, 14-year-old kid is like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Stood right up to him, got a couple scars, but that's pretty tough.
It's pretty brave.
Yeah.
It's pretty brave,
Yeah.
which is telling of a lot of these people that eventually get to these positions that we've talked about here. They're always doing something that is out of the ordinary or extraordinary
Yeah.
to put them in this position to.
I feel like we're just a bunch of sissies now with a
Oh,
bunch of
God.
kids that are sissies.
Sure.
I
And
mean,
life is so easy.
yeah, I know. Everything is just, even the poorest of the poor here in the United States is better off than any poorest of the poor in another country.
Sure.
But that's how they were living here back then.
It is really interesting as we get through here to think he grew up, poor immigrant, and what he does down the road with the Native Americans and slaves.
Hmm.
It really kind of, in my mind, kind of contradicts, his upbringing. And it'll be interesting to see where it turns his philosophies.
Yeah. There's a lot of contradictions, but we've seen that with all the presidents
All
so
of them.
far. It's just, it's
Exactly.
hard to walk that fine line between what you believe and what you live and what you think is best for the country versus what you personally do for yourself and all that stuff. But yeah, we've seen with multiple presidents now where they've changed their mind on things or done things that, were just different from what you thought they should or
Sure.
would do.
And pretty interesting to think that Andrew Jackson could have been walking through some of these woods.
Yeah. Because he was a Tennessean.
Yeah.
Well, not till he was in his 20s.
In his 20s, but
Yeah.
still think of, we know getting to the Hermitage from here is 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Right.
Right. These guys were exploring everywhere,
Yeah.
land kind of as they're kind of growing to take over more space. But there's an area just down off of Old Natchez here, 5 minutes from here, where it's documented where he crossed the Harpeth River.
Nice. I didn't know that.
At Old Town down the road here.
Nice.
You need
So,
to check that out.
yeah, pretty cool stuff. So
Well, and also he and some troops have traveled the Natchez as well.
Right.
So I'm sure their footsteps are all over all of it.
right there.
Yeah.
Could be that right in your backyard where our runway is supposed to be.
For the
Yeah.
for the for the listeners, Andrew Jackson is important to this group here because we are in Tennessee. This is the Fairview Social Podcast, Tennessee.
That's right.
And the Hermitage where Jackson lived is what, 45, 50 minutes from
Yeah,
here.
about 45 minutes.
And so, Andrew Jackson is our president.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
That's why we
And
were
we will.
gonna have
Well,
a big
and
thing.
Andrew Jackson, in his own right, has made a big deal out of the presidency and out of his life. So, positive and negative, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the start of the popular vote, right?
Yeah.
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 So, our man of the people.
Yeah. So after being prisoner of war at like 13 or 14, he becomes an orphan at the age of 14.
Yeah.
His mom and brothers die, and he's all alone. And then, like 3 years later, decides when he's 17, I'm going to be a lawyer. And he does it. And that's what ends up getting him out here to Tennessee. Fun fact that I did not see in the notes, Andrew Jackson actually, this is before presidency and all that, he actually helped write the Tennessee's first state constitution and Bill of Rights.
1796.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, guys, Larry didn't know everything in the 33 pages of notes, considering there's probably hundreds of 500-page books written about Andrew Jackson. So
yeah, it wasn't really hard outside of what Larry did for just kind of doing a little prep work. Not a lot, not as much as Jeems old here, but
yeah, I know.
All
right. So after prisoner of war, after what was the last thing?
So prisoner of war, then he becomes an orphan at 14.
The orphan at 14.
His mom had actually negotiated for his release from the British, but also that whole scenario is what gave him a lifelong hatred for the British, which shows up later. But so he's an orphan and then has to make his way on his own and had some family support, but he's rough and tough. He's been a fighter his whole life, a gambler his whole life, and but he ended up at 17 deciding to become a lawyer, and he does. He moves to Tennessee, does some lawyer work, does some other thing. He had a lot of jobs that he did, and he got his first political office in Tennessee. And so, that led to a military career, which really catapulted him to national stardom, honestly. And from there on, the presidency. So that's a good summary of his life.
She doesn't need us.
No, she does not.
Yeah.
We're just here for looks.
Y'all are pretty.
All right. What else? What other background you got?
No, it says here they had 1,000 acres, which I guess makes some sense. At our current, our job, I've looked at that area for, some maintenance, landscape maintenance. So I mean, it's a pretty vast area, and they're still finding, stuff that's been buried on that property.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think as recently as last year, they were, archaeologists dug up some stuff.
Maybe we need to get the Duck Dynasty boys out there on their treasure hunts.
Yeah, they probably won't let them dig that up though.
Probably.
No, you gotta be a special person.
Didn't they have to sell off a lot of that? That we learned that
they did.
We learned that when we did the tour of the Hermitage, where they had to years ago they had to sell it off to pay for his expenses or whatever, and then the Hermitage that's. They're the people that are managing it there now or have bought back, to piece it back together.
I know they got on both sides of Lebanon Road. When you get closer to it, it goes under the road and there's two sides. So that's interesting. I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. But that's a general summary. So
I like it. That's perfect.
We can go through Larry's notes and talk about the things he was most known for, least known for, and the controversial things.
Well, Mike, what do you know about the Battle of New Orleans?
I'm gonna defer to my friend over here.
Or New Orleans. Nolans.
$20 bill. I'd have to do a little quick research here.
I know a little bit about the Battle of New Orleans, specifically in reference to Jackson.
Okay, well, give us the rundown on that.
So the Battle of New Orleans was at the tail end of the War of 1812. And it actually happened after there was actually a peace agreement already agreed upon. But anyways, the Battle of New Orleans happened after that peace agreement had been made, but it hadn't been ratified by the U.S. yet. And word of that had not gotten over to the United States yet, but there were rumors. So I believe the British soldiers were told that even if you hear rumors of a peace treaty, you still attack and try to conquer New Orleans. Well, Andrew Jackson, who was leading armies in the war, he heard rumors that the British were going to attack New Orleans.
How about
So
that?
he kind of took it on himself to make sure to go. First, he went down to Mobile, Alabama, because the British like to come up on land to get over to New Orleans. He heard they were coming up the Gulf Coast. So he goes and does some structural work on that fort so it can defend itself better. And then he takes his crew over to New Orleans. What's interesting is that he had to kind of band together this ragtag group of people.
Yeah.
It was pirates, it was Native Americans, it was regular frontiersmen with guns, it was freed black men. I mean, he got just like basically anybody he could and assembled this army to go defend New Orleans because he was pretty sure they were coming. And so they go over there, and this is crazy because like the British had over 8,000 men, over 8,000 soldiers. Jackson had about 5,000, maybe a hair over. And so Jackson was wildly outnumbered, and he had this like ragtag group of people that he just assembled. They weren't trained, most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them were, but not a lot of them were. And the British are all trained. So they're outnumbered by very trained soldiers. And they knocked the British out of the water. Well, they were on land, actually, but you know what I mean.
I do.
But the British, I think it was like in 30 minutes, they killed over 2,000 British soldiers and had them fleeing, and they lost less than 100. And most of those weren't even losses. They were like injuries. Wow. So it's like, how did this happen? I mean, it was basically called the miracle of New Orleans.
Yeah. Is that, when you have kind of militia kind of stuff like that, is that when you're that successful, is that good leadership, or is that, someone, it's bringing together a group,
yes,
who's very proud?
It's passion
for
and
cause.
leadership.
For a cause,
because a lot of none of this would have happened without Jackson's leadership.
Sure.
He was very strategic in what he did, but obviously he had to be an effective leader to get these guys rallied to do this, including like getting in pirates.
Sure.
And Native Americans that he was probably fighting against in other wars.
Yeah.
Do you picture like a peg leg pirate
with a parrot on his shoulder?
With a parrot on his shoulder and an eye patch? You think it was that kind of pirates?
I don't know about the parrots, but maybe.
I'm just kidding.
No. Anyways, it was just this rogue group of people. But I think it was
Crunch.
like both passion and leadership, rallying the troops.
Very decisive. I think you said earlier that he's a
Yeah.
very decisive leader.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't happen without very intentional work and mind thinking.
Yeah.
It says in Larry's notes, basically Jackson assembled the Avengers of the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
a good way to put it. It's a very good way to put it.
But yeah, that was the war. That was the battle, actually, that put Jackson on, the national spotlight and put him on the road to the presidency.
Sure. Someone who had such disdain for the British, I probably helped with all that decisive,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
But also, he kind of just went out on his own, followed his gut, because everybody thought not everybody thought the war was over because they didn't all know, they didn't all hear it.
Yeah.
But again, like I said before, the British were planning to attack whether the war was peacefully, like ended or not.
Yeah,
they were still
treaties and
planning.
stuff. Yeah.
And Jackson heard these rumors that they were coming up the Gulf Coast. So he's like, we're going down and we're going to be prepared, So he was intentional. He was prepared. He was following his gut, Yeah. There you go.
Do you rest your case?
I rest my case.
Case ruled.
All right. America's first true populist president.
Yeah.
Before Jackson, presidents generally came from elite circles and were expected to behave like gentlemen. Jackson changed the entire formula. He sold himself as the people's president. What do you know about that?
I mean, makes sense. If
Well,
he's getting all these people to follow him.
yeah, I mean, he was the
for
first
for a
one.
different cause.
He was the first one brought up in the backwoods
Yeah.
and came
Self-made.
from nothing. He
Right.
didn't have money growing up. He came from nothing and like is a self-made man. He's a picture of the American dream.
Self-made, tough, honest, anti-establishment. His opponents viewed him as dangerous, uneducated, violent, and unstable. Well, that sounds familiar.
That's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
that second one, uneducated, it's interesting for his opponents to view him as that.
Yeah,
No
when
or
he
no.
had become a lawyer, but he just didn't have the same education,
Yeah.
Ivy League schools that they
pedigree,
did.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't have a great family pedigree. Yeah.
Well, that's a problem with all of it because every time any election for anything, especially now, all of the opponents are going to say those things about their
Well,
opponent.
of
Sure.
course.
It's like always the same thing.
Sure.
It even says there, sound familiar. I didn't even see that. Many historians argue Jackson created the modern version of American populism. He constantly framed politics as the ordinary people versus the powerful elites.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's interesting, and I think we see this some. I get this, and this is someone I would probably want to follow too, because it doesn't have to be this. We're now seeing it doesn't have to be this. You know, to use the word again, pedigree of born into it. You know, family was politicians,
Yeah.
right? He didn't even really have a family.
Well,
Right.
this is more like George Washington.
Exactly.
It's like it started the cycle over in 7 because wasn't John Quincy Adams like the last of all of the founders or whatever, or was it the one before
John
that?
Quincy Adams was John Adams' son, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was born into that.
yeah.
You know, all of them were born into that.
Education, you know, travel overseas to be diplomats,
Right.
and this a $20 bill,
$20 bills, kind of like George
earned it in the backwoods.
G Dubs.
Yeah.
in the backwoods.
Yeah, earned it in the
Standing
backwoods.
up to British soldiers when he's 13, 14 years old.
Awesome.
It says he constantly framed politics as the ordinary people versus the powerful elites, which but then it says Jackson himself owned a large plantation and enslaved people, so he wasn't exactly living in a log cabin eating beans
No.
with a common man, but politically he understood something revolutionary. People don't just vote for policies.
No.
They vote for someone they believe is fighting for them. And that lesson still drives politics today.
It sure does.
And I wonder too, you know, he throughout his life and his political career, he was always against the powerful elites, things that drove them and didn't, you know, really help the common man. So I just feel like there's a parallel here between him and his disdain for the powerful elites and his disdain for the British. I wonder if he just sees them very similarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
It does. It is possible. And then you get to a point in your in a career like this that, again, we'll start seeing the change that when you get power and a little bit of an ego, then it changes some of your views.
Yeah.
And causes you to do some stuff that may be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a few things. Yep.
There's some controversial things.
Some
in there.
controversial things that
All
people
right.
still talk about today.
He's
Mhm.
the founder of the modern Democratic Party. The Democratic Party that existed today traces its roots directly back to Jackson. The election of 1828 transformed American politics. What do you know about the election of 1828, James?
Why are you asking me all these questions? If you want to talk about the election of 1828, you should also refer to the election of 1824, which we talked about on the last. You guys talked about on the last one. Was I on the last one? I don't think so. No, that was just you guys.
Oh, that was just us.
Alligator in the tub.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because
Skinny
the
dipping in
two
Potomac.
elections are very closely
Sure.
tied together. And Jackson had some animosity about that first election. He actually ran in 1824. And when he first
That's
lost
right.
that, he
Mm.
conceded graciously.
That's right.
But afterwards, he got really suspicious that Adams and Clay had made a backdoor deal.
Yes.
And then when Clay was appointed to Adams' Senate or cabinet or whatever,
Mhm.
then his suspicions grew, as did a lot of other people's about that. So ever since the 1824 election, Jackson felt like he had something to prove, which I think he felt like that his whole life. But he had something to prove, and he had this like animosity towards them. And he's like, I'm gonna beat them. So enter
God for Nikki.
1828. Yeah.
She says, "Why are you asking me? Because I'm an idiot, and I don't want to call you an idiot, Mike. But I know that
I know I am one.
She's smarter than
I wanted to
Yeah.
learn something. I just did. I remembered something too.
Okay, we'll go with what you remembered and what you know.
No, you spelled it. You're exactly
Well, I
right.
just set it up.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
gosh. I mean, you nailed it and knocked it right out of the park here. Jeez, Al.
Put pressure on you, Mike.
Seriously. But you're right with the backdoor deals, the push to be that common man's president.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I mean, it's night and day from 1824 to 1828.
Yeah. And that's just part of like what was driving him was he was angry at these powerful elites that were doing all this stuff.
Right.
Not just in elections, but in, banking and in policy and
true.
everything. Everything he looked at in government, he saw it as corrupt, and he didn't like politics, honestly, because he got in a lot of political positions prior to this that he resigned early because he just did not like that life.
Yeah.
There was multiple, I think when he was governor of Florida, he resigned early because he was like, I don't like this life. I want to go back to my farm.
Yeah.
And then there was at least 2 or 3 that I know of where he resigned early because he was like, I'm not made for meetings. He's made for battles.
No, sure. And now you see the opposite. Now, if you have some animosity against people, you keep fighting.
Yeah. His goal was to fix it, but he came in with a fighting spirit for sure
Yeah.
because he just didn't like what he was seeing in government.
It says before Jackson, elections often felt like contest among elites. So he built a national political movement. So just like we saw with the Battle of New Orleans, organized locally, held rallies, printed campaign materials, mobilized voters. I know he didn't do that for the Battle of New Orleans, but just like kind of getting his ragtag group of people to get out there. And
great at rallying. People supported him.
I mean,
They saw something in him.
It says his coalition was built around farmers, laborers, Western settlers, working class voters.
Yeah.
Did we not just see that in the last election, currently?
Yeah.
I mean, trying to rally that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Get out and
the
vote.
core group of Americans.
Right.
As opposed to the
1%ers.
coast of the elites.
Yeah.
This is the same thing.
Yeah. It's the middle of the country. This is really kind of, as Jeems was setting it up there. I mean, again, I think I've said this too many times on these podcasts, but how the foundation is just constantly built upon.
Yeah.
And changed and manipulated in a little bit, but it always comes back to kind of something we see present day.
Yeah.
And to be a president of the people, we could say that this round for Trump when he was hired, when he was elected, was a similar approach.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's exactly the same. It's this group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter which side you're on, if you're, trying to reach that group of people and you're talking to that group of people,
Yeah.
you're probably more likely to win. Everybody's so concerned with like, okay, we had this group and this group and this. Well, just don't worry about race and gender and all this stuff. Like these people that are making the country function is
the common
The
man.
motor,
man.
right?
The common man.
The motor that keeps it running.
Yeah.
Yep.
He changed it. So he didn't just win an election. He changed how elections worked.
Yes. And I think he became president around the age of 62.
Yes. So this next one, you actually know a lot about, and we kind of learned a little bit about this when we went to the Hermitage and reading all the stuff, but destroying the national bank. So can you kind of I know we keep asking you because you're smarter than we are.
I'm not smarter. I'm familiar with this.
But can you set up like, why was the bank a big deal and like how he destroyed the national bank and all that?
Okay, so this is in reference to the second national bank. So there was the first national bank, and then the second national bank. So the reason Jackson hated the second national bank. So every time there's a national bank, it's set up with like a charter, which is like a time frame where it's allowed to function, and then it needs to be up for review and either renewed or knocked down or whatever. And so the Second National Bank, Jackson hated it for good reason. He believed that it served the wealthy elites, which it did. So the proceeds, the profits from the Second National Bank was split between the government that got like 20%, and then the rest of the profits were being they were going to stakeholders, which mostly were foreign people. So these foreign elites who had allegiances to their own governments were getting the profits from America's Second National Bank because they were the stakeholders.
Pretty awesome.
So Jackson was furious about it. I mean, just as he thought, the wrong people were being benefited.
Sure.
The common man was not being benefited. And in his eyes, this bank was keeping the wealthy wealthier and the poor people poorer. And he just wanted to see an end to it. And they actually, Congress voted to keep this bank going. And Jackson, who loved his veto power, vetoed it and let it fail.
So what happened after it failed?
It failed. I mean, honestly, after it failed, the nation did go into financial crisis.
Yes.
There was a problem.
But I mean, at the same time, though,
At least he stood his ground.
It needed a revision. The country financially needed a different way to function. So yes, we went into financial crisis after that, but it forced us to rework the system.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any of that.
Agree. But again, right? Who was you said it? The wealthy were benefiting from this.
Yes, and not even American
Okay.
wealthy. It was foreigners were benefiting.
Right.
I'm sure some American elites were shareholders, but like a majority were foreign.
But again, goes back to why he kept winning this popular vote and knew the veto powers that he had. We are taking another step to get away from what this country was, kind of not before our founding fathers and hey pal.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to become our own country.
Yeah.
Let's eliminate these people, foreign individuals that are benefiting from it. Let's eliminate the wealthy from becoming wealthy. The 1%ers are always going to be the 1%ers.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the common man. We see it today.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
I was just thinking that too. I mean, politically we're seeing that, but also financially, this country, there's a lot of money like rolling in this country, rolling out of this country to foreign nationals, to and from foreign nationals, to interrupt our politics and cause division. Right. And it's like, get their money out of here.
It's the root of evil.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's the root of evil. I mean, he paid off the national debt.
Yeah. I mean, how many presidents have done that?
Right.
Jackson did it.
Yeah. And we'll probably never see it happen again.
I know.
So it says it just keeps running up.
It says whether America benefited remains one of the greatest debates in history. Some historians blame Jackson's actions for contributing to later economic disasters. Others see him as a champion who took down a corrupt financial monopoly. Either way, he picked a fight with the most powerful financial institutions in America and won.
Sure.
That's pretty ballsy.
So both things can be true. He probably did screw a lot of things up.
It wasn't the only factor in the Great Depression or anything like that. The Great Depression was like way later, but in the Depression that followed, it wasn't the only factor.
But I think you're right. I mean, there is some groundworking to the Great Depression from this, because then if you've got it paid off, you're getting rid of this Second National Bank. The next avenue for the wealthy to make more money would be eventually we'll see kind of development of stocks and trading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, whether it was good or bad, the fact that, and I think that's why people like Trump, he did what he thought was right. and he did, and he followed through with it. Because there's a lot of presidents and a lot of people that are in politics that are just like, they get in there and then they're just like swindled into
Sure.
making deals and doing all the things. And with this, Jackson's like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, because he wasn't brought up with all of that and he had disdain for all of that, he never conformed to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All of those backdoor deals and
Right.
the dirty stuff.
Yeah, for Andrew Jackson,
I mean, he did his own dirty stuff, but
sure. And unfortunately, they all do. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
They all do. It is just kind of what is in the times that you're wanting to follow or believe in or catches your attention that's going to get you to vote. But for Jackson, it was the British.
Mm-hmm.
For Trump, it's let's drain the swamp.
Well, and that was part of Jackson's goal too. That was part of his main focus was the swamp of the elite, wealthy, running the country, and just, like he said earlier, it was like a contest of the wealthy elites. Every election was until Jackson came along, and then suddenly the people have power, which is what Jackson wanted. He thought that's what we're supposed to be doing.
But there's always going to be that back door that, those elites. The president is a pretty elite person.
Yeah.
Is going to try to benefit from. And we'll see it.
We'll see it.
All right. So we're going to do this next one, and then we're going to wrap it up for today and continue later, because there's a lot of stuff here.
Well, we get into some really fascinating.
This is a lot of this is a big president. That's why he's on the $20 bill.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll do this one, and then we'll wrap up part 1 of Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
So
well, it's a good base. We're setting a good base for what?
Yeah, we're setting it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then me and you can also study so we don't look dumb compared to her. All right. So Larry says the veto president. Before Jackson, presidents used the veto sparingly. It was considered almost an emergency tool. Jackson completely changed that. He vetoed more legislation than all previous presidents combined.
Wow.
That sounds insane, because it was. Jackson believed the president wasn't merely an administrator. He believed the president represented the entire people. If Congress passed something he thought was wrong, he'd kill it.
Wow.
His expanded use of the executive power permanently changed the presidency. Supporters loved it. Critics compared him to a king. It's like it's always that.
Yes.
Sure.
It's always that.
Sure.
One famous nickname, King Andrew the First. Political cartoons literally showed him wearing a crown.
We still see that today.
Who was it? John Adams. They were ripping on him.
That's right.
But we see that with Trump too. People call him king. No king's protest.
King's protest.
Yeah.
All that kind of. I mean, God.
They always resort back to the same thing. It's like, come on, people, be original. Come up with something new.
Well, that's the thing. Until you can find someone that's trying to develop a solution, nobody wants a solution.
Everybody just wants to sit there and bitch about everything.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to find a solution. They don't want to they don't want to work it. They don't want to put themselves out and be in a negative, looked at in a negative light. They just want somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
It's a fault of all of ours.
Yeah.
But that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Unless don't come to me like we do it at work and in our homes. If you got a problem, then come with a solution.
Yeah.
These are the individuals that are doing it. And if it means being called certain stuff or being looked at, but it worked for him to get the common people to follow.
The thing is with this, when you're a leader, like he was a leader, you got people coming at you no matter what, and you're going to get people throwing shit at you, and
Sure.
You're going to be strung up. And it's like, when you push through that, that's what makes a good leader. You push through that, because there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with you. And that's okay, but a lot of people can't take that heat. No.
An effective leader can't be focused on making friends.
Well, I mean, you see that in politics. The people that are in Congress and the Senate and everything, they're getting persuaded by lobbyists and groups and pharmaceutical companies and all these things to where there's no backbone with anybody.
Right.
I'm going to go to Washington and change things, and then they just end up just joining the swamp.
Yeah.
Or you get eaten alive and you can't take it.
Yeah, you get eaten alive and you can't take it, and you get out.
Yeah.
You got people like Andrew Jackson that goes in there and is like, you know what? I know I'm going to get killed for this, but I strongly believe this.
Yeah.
And we voted for you to be the president. So whether we like it or not, we have to trust his decisions.
Sure.
And there's presidents in history, including this one, that made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah.
But like, how else do you have a free country? How else do you do this?
Yeah.
Without having to take that risk?
No. Thank goodness for our founding fathers.
Well, and I like the fact that, look, he stands up to the British when he's young, and even he gets into this presidency and he's standing up to Congress. He's never afraid to stand up to anybody, which is why he walks around with bullet shells and bullets in his body and stuff, which we'll get into later. But I mean, I like that he never backed down.
No.
He did what he thought was right in the moment. And
It's made him a leader
yeah.
Yeah.
of the men
Of the men and women.
and women.
So, all right. Well, we'll stop it
Well
right
done.
here for today. But
like it.
I think this is going to be a good one. It could be a 4-part thing. I don't know, because there's a lot.
There could be a lot of discussion we get into that.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But on a side note, I do want to say to the listeners that if you don't already know, you are able to listen and watch this podcast on Apple
And if you
Podcasts.
send some comments in.
Send some comments in. Tell us how dumb me and Mike are.
Or tell us if
Or
we get something
something-
wrong. I
right.
mean, my memory fails me too.
This is an interesting one because of where we're located. Like you said at the beginning, I mean, if someone out there listening has something they want to add because of something they know about Andrew Jackson here in Middle Tennessee, then
Or if you want to come to
Yeah.
our big Hermitage blowout.
yeah.
But I will say too that maybe in the next episode, or if we finish it in the next episode, or an episode after that, if we continue to go, in one of these episodes, we have a bunch of pictures of the Hermitage that we're going to share.
Oh, fantastic.
Because Nikki and I went to the Hermitage around Christmas time last year, and we knew we were going to do this podcast. So we got a bunch of pictures, because you're normally not allowed to take pictures in there, but they let us.
They let us because it was a special event.
So
yeah.
we have
Okay, very cool.
We have pictures of like every single room in the house.
No way.
We can pretty much map out how Andrew Jackson was living. It's really cool. So
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
But also, I'd want to encourage everybody to go check out the Hermitage.
it's pretty cool.
yeah, check out the Hermitage if you can, if you do live in the area. But
Yeah.
It's a neat place to go see. It's sprawling.
And you'll learn a lot, and it's beautiful.
yeah. All right. But thank you, Jeems, for being here.
Well done, Jeems.
To
Thank you.
support us in
Thanks
this.
for having me.
We're coming back next time, and me and Mike will be. We'll
I'll be
the-
asking you guys the questions.
Well,
right.
Let's
That's
talk
right.
about that.
We'll see. All right. See y'all on the next one. Goodbye.